You ever feel like life just forgot about you? That's how it's always felt for me. I wasn't unhappy, exactly, but I wasn't living either. I was just existing. Waking up every morning in the same creaky twin bed I'd had since I was 12, brushing my teeth in the same tiny bathroom I shared with my sister, then dragging myself to the grocery store where I'd been stuck for the past 6 years. Stocking shelves, punching in, punching out, day in, day out, rinse and repeat. Mom still treated me like I was 17. Cassie, my younger sister, walked around the house like she was some kind of Kardashian in exile, waiting for her big break on TikTok or something. And me? I just tried to stay out of everyone's way, keep the peace. I helped pay the bills, fixed the leaky faucet, picked Mom up from her night shift when her car broke down. No one ever really said thank you. It was just expected. Anyway, I never bought lottery tickets. Ever. I always thought it was a waste of money. But that Wednesday, I don't know, something felt off. I'd had a rough day. Some kid spilled an entire jar of pickles in aisle 4, and I was the lucky one who got to clean it. I remember being sore, sweaty, and just over it. I stopped by the gas station for a soda and, for whatever reason, told the guy behind the counter, "Throw in a Powerball too. $2. No big deal. Funny how $2 can flip your whole world upside down." I didn't even check the ticket right away. Honestly, I forgot about it. It sat on my nightstand for 2 days, right next to an empty water bottle and a half-read Stephen King book. Then on Saturday night, around midnight, I couldn't sleep. I had this weird restlessness in my chest, like I'd forgotten something important. So I pulled out the ticket, opened the lottery app on my phone, and started reading the numbers. First one matched, then the second, then the third. I sat up in bed. Fourth, fifth. My hand started shaking. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears. The 6th number hit. The bonus number? Bingo. I thought it was a glitch. I literally closed the app and reopened it. I opened the browser just to double check. I even looked up the numbers on the official site, just in case the app was buggy. And then I just sat there, in the dark, clutching this stupid piece of paper like it was a live grenade. $2.5 million. I whispered it out loud. No fucking way. I must have said that 10 times. But it was real. I'd won. I, the invisible background character in my own life, had actually won. You'd think I'd run downstairs screaming, right? Wake up the whole neighborhood? Nope. I didn't tell anyone. Not Mom, not Cassie, not even my best friend Kyle. I didn't sleep at all that night. I just sat on my bed staring at the ticket like it might vanish. At one point, I even hid it inside my copy of The Catcher in the Rye because I figured no one in this house would ever touch a book, especially not that one. The next morning at breakfast, Mom asked me to mow the lawn. Cassie was bitching about how her phone charger broke again and how someone needed to Venmo her money, and I was just sitting there thinking, none of this matters anymore. But I smiled, nodded, pretended everything was normal. For 3 days, I lived like a fugitive in my own home. I researched financial advisors in secret, created a spreadsheet of how much would be left after taxes, even looked up how long I could keep the win anonymous. Spoiler, not very long in our state. I knew that if I told them, it'd be over. They'd want a piece. Or worse, they'd expect a piece, like it was their right. That's how it's always been in our house. The guilt, the manipulation, the "after everything I've done for you" speeches. So I kept quiet. I made a plan. Just until I figured out the next move. 4. Dreams begin to form. That was the weirdest part. The silence. Having this massive secret burning a hole in my chest while everything around me stayed exactly the same. I started dreaming again. Real dreams. I thought about moving out, maybe to Oregon or Colorado. Somewhere green with space. I thought about paying off my student loans, getting a car that didn't stall every time it hit a red light, maybe even finally starting my own video editing business. I imagined waking up in a place that was mine. No yelling, no passive-aggressive comments, no one expecting me to fix everything just because I was the only semi-responsible adult in the house. For the first time in my life, I had options, and of course, the universe just couldn't let me have that in peace. It was my own fault. I got sloppy. I left my door unlocked while I took a shower. Maybe part of me wanted someone to find it. I don't know. Maybe I was just tired. Cassie's the nosy type. Always has been. When I came back to my room, I noticed the book on my shelf wasn't in the same spot. My heart dropped. That night, everything felt weird, quiet, too quiet. At dinner, Cassie kept smirking at me. Mom was watching me like she was waiting for me to confess something. Finally, she set down her fork and said, real calm, Josh, do you have something you want to tell us? I played dumb, shrugged. No? Then she pulled it out. The ticket. My ticket. My mouth went dry. Cassie was practically bouncing in her seat. We knew you'd won. You were acting all sneaky, and I saw the numbers online. They match. We're rich. We. That word hit me like a punch to the gut. I tried to grab the ticket, but Mom pulled it back. We need to talk about what this means. For the family, I wanted to scream, but all I said was, it's my ticket. And then everything went straight to hell. So yeah, things didn't stay calm for long after that. The second the words, it's my ticket, left my mouth, the air in the kitchen got thick. Like, you could feel it. Mom's face hardened, and Cassie's smile, gone. She blinked real slow, then let out this fake little laugh. Oh, come on, Josh, she said. You're not seriously gonna act like we're not all in this together. All in this together? Girl, I don't even share my Netflix password with you. I looked at Mom, hoping, just hoping, she'd say something rational. Something like, let's talk calmly, or, this is a big deal, let him process. But nope, she went full mama bear, except not to protect me. Oh no, she was protecting her own expectations. Josh, honey, she said, her voice doing that sugar-sweet thing she uses when she's about to emotionally manipulate you. You wouldn't have even bought that ticket if I hadn't sent you out for milk that day. So, in a way, this whole thing, it's kind of a blessing for the family. All of us. I just stared at her. For a second, I swear my brain just paused, like it glitched. Milk? She thought she deserved millions because of a gallon of milk. I pushed my chair back, trying to breathe. I wasn't ready for this. Not yet. I'm not saying I wouldn't help you guys, I said, and I meant that, by the way. But it's my win, and I need time to figure things out. Cassie scoffed so loud I thought she was choking. Wow, so you're just gonna keep it all? Selfish prick. I left the table. I just couldn't. I went up to my room, locked the door, and sat there staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I should have known this was only the beginning. By the next morning, I was already the villain. I woke up to 15 missed calls from Cassie and 3 passive-aggressive texts from Mom. One of them literally said, after everything I sacrificed for you. That line? Classic Mom. She'd said it when I decided not to help Cassie with rent last year, and when I told her I didn't want to go to church anymore. It's like her go-to spell to make me feel like dirt. I came downstairs to grab coffee and found Cassie sitting on the couch, crying. Loudly. Like dramatic, Oscar-worthy sobs. She looked up when she saw me, mascara already streaking down her cheeks. I don't get it, she said. You know I'm in debt. My car's falling apart. I work my ass off and get nothing, and then you get lucky and just decide we don't deserve to share it? I was too tired to argue. It's not about deserving, Cassie. It's just, this is a huge thing. I need space. Bullshit, she snapped. You always do this. You pretend you're so innocent, like the good kid, but you're just a greedy coward. Mom stepped in at that point. Cassie, enough, she said, but not to defend me. No. She said it like I was the problem for provoking her. I felt like I was losing my mind. That night, Mom called a family meeting, like we were voting on what pizza toppings to get or something. I didn't want to go, but she texted me. Either you come downstairs, or we come up there. So I sat down in the living room with them, the ticket folded in my back pocket like a loaded gun. Mom opened with her usual calm but condescending tone. Josh, this isn't just about money. It's about trust, about family. You keeping secrets like this, it hurts us. I looked at her, dead in the eyes. I didn't tell you because I knew this exact thing would happen. She blinked, like she hadn't considered why I'd been quiet. Cassie just rolled her eyes. We're your family, she snapped. What? You thought you'd just cash the check and disappear? Start a new life and ghost us? I didn't answer. Because yeah, that was kind of the plan. That silence, it said everything. And I saw it, right there, on Mom's face. Something shifted. "I raised you better than this," she whispered. "You'll regret this, Josh. I promise you." After that meeting, it was war. But the battlefield was subtle. Cold shoulders, doors slamming, whispered conversations when I left the room. Mom started acting like I was some kind of ungrateful tenant instead of her son. She wouldn't cook for me anymore. Stopped doing my laundry, which, fine, I'm a grown man. I can handle that. But it was the way she did it. Like she was punishing me for daring to keep something that was legally mine. Cassie, on the other hand, got treated like the golden child. I caught them one night sitting on the back porch, sharing wine and talking about how people change when money's involved. They stopped when I came out, of course, but the damage was done. I'd always known they were closer, but now it felt like I was the outsider in my own house. I even heard Mom say to her once, when she thought I couldn't hear, "If he thinks he's going to take that money and leave us with nothing, he's got another thing coming." My stomach dropped. I didn't know what that meant yet, but I was about to find out. 3 days later, Mom knocked on my door. She wasn't angry. She wasn't cold. She was calm, too calm. That's how I knew something was up. She sat on my bed and looked at me with this forced softness. "Josh," she said, "I think it's time we make things fair." I didn't say anything, just waited. She continued, "I've spoken to a lawyer. I know you're the ticket holder, but there's legal precedent for shared ownership when it comes to family claims. We can avoid all that if you just agree to split it evenly. 3 ways. Clean and simple." 3 ways? With Cassie? The girl who still owes me $600 from 2 years ago? "I'm not doing that," I said, voice flat. That calm look on her face broke. She stood up, walked to the door, and before leaving said, "If you're not willing to do what's right for your family, don't expect us to sit back and do nothing." I stared at the door after she left, heart racing. And for the first time, I had this sharp, awful thought. She's not bluffing. Something in her tone scared me. Not just disappointment, not anger, determination. I didn't know it then, but I was about to learn just how far people will go when they think they're owed something. It happened on a Thursday. I remember because it had rained that morning, that humid, sticky kind of rain that makes everything feel heavier than it should. The house smelled like wet socks and burnt toast. Mom had left the coffee pot on too long. The kitchen was a mess. Cassie was yelling into her phone about some Instagram sponsorship that fell through. And me? I was just trying to breathe. I'd been walking on eggshells for over a week. Every conversation was a landmine. Every time I reached for the fridge, someone would slam a drawer or sigh loudly. I couldn't even open the front door without someone asking where I was going. That morning, I came downstairs with my backpack. I had decided I was done. I was going to a friend's place for a few days, just to get space. I had the ticket in a Ziploc bag in my hoodie pocket, taped between 2 pages of a notebook. I had made a copy of it. I'd taken pictures. I'd written down the serial number. I was ready to leave, but I didn't even make it to the front door. Mom was waiting in the living room. "Where do you think you're going?" she asked, arms crossed. "I'm just leaving for a bit. I need air. I can't breathe in this house." "You're not taking that ticket." My stomach twisted. "It's my ticket, Mom." "No," she snapped. "It's not. Not anymore." Cassie came in from the kitchen, holding her phone, recording. "Let's make sure we have this on video," she said, "in case he tries to lie later." I couldn't believe it. My own sister filming me like I was some criminal stealing from them. I tried to push past them. I didn't even want to argue anymore. And then Mom screamed, "If you leave this house with that ticket, don't bother coming back." And that's when I lost it. "I wasn't planning to," I yelled. "I'm sick of living like your damn backup plan. This is my money, and you two are just proving exactly why I can't share it." Her face changed. Something cracked behind her eyes. And that's when it happened. I went to the front door, hand in my hoodie pocket, gripping the notebook. That's when Mom rushed me. She literally grabbed my arm and tried to yank the backpack off. We struggled. It wasn't violent. Not at first. More like 2 people fighting over a remote control. But she was stronger than I expected. Or maybe just desperate. "Give it to me," she kept saying. "You don't understand what you're doing." The notebook fell to the ground, pages scattered everywhere. Cassie lunged forward and grabbed the Ziploc bag. "No, don't touch that," I shouted, diving for it, but Cassie already had it in her hand. She held it up, inspecting the ticket like it was a winning hand in poker. And then, Mom took it from her. Calmly, too calmly. She walked over to the kitchen stove, took out a lighter from the junk drawer, the same one she used for birthday candles and lighting the grill on weekends. I froze. "What are you doing?" I asked. She didn't answer. She held the ticket over the burner, lit the lighter. I screamed, "Mom, stop, stop! That's $2.5 million. She looked at me, and with the coldest voice I've ever heard, she said, "If you won't share it, no one will have it." Then she dropped it onto the flame. For a second, nothing happened. Then it curled, blackened, and disappeared into ashes. I can't explain the sound that came out of me. It wasn't a yell. It wasn't a scream. It was hollow, like everything inside me had caved in at once. I dropped to the floor, grabbing at the ashes like I could somehow reverse time, like I could reassemble it piece by piece. But it was gone. It was just gone. Cassie stopped recording. Even she looked a little shocked. "Mom, what the hell?" But Mom didn't flinch. She wiped her hands on a kitchen towel like she'd just finished doing the dishes. "You'll thank me one day," she said. "Money ruins people." I couldn't breathe. I just kept shaking my head. You actually burned it. You destroyed everything." Mom walked past me, calm as hell. "No, I saved you from it." She went upstairs. I sat there for an hour. Maybe two. Just broken. Cassie tried to talk, tried to say something, but I couldn't hear her anymore. My ears were ringing. My brain was fried. My heart felt like it had been ripped out and lit on fire, too. Of course, I went to the police. I took the burnt pieces, the photos I had of the ticket, the serial number, all of it. But guess what? Unless the ticket is physically intact and legible, they can't verify it. The lottery commission straight up told me, no ticket, no payout. They didn't care about my story. Didn't care about the ashes or my mom's confession. The most they offered was, maybe pursue a civil case. So I tried a lawyer. He looked at the photos, nodded sympathetically, then hit me with a fat reality check. If your mother destroyed it before you claimed it, and you don't have a valid copy that meets state standards, the odds of winning in court are slim. I walked out of that office feeling like the biggest fool in the world. I had everything. And now, nothing. After that, something shifted in the house. Again. I stopped talking, stopped eating with them. I didn't even yell anymore. I just existed. Like a ghost. And Mom acted like she hadn't just thrown away millions of dollars and ruined my life. She actually started being cheerful, baking muffins, watching her crime dramas. Cassie went back to posting thirst traps and acting like a victim online. It was like they'd already forgotten. They kept saying things like, "You can always win again." Maybe it wasn't meant to be. It's just money, Josh. You can't let it destroy you. But they were the ones who destroyed it. I wanted to scream, break things, run. Instead, I started packing my things, because if they thought that was the end of the story, they were dead wrong. I moved out 3 days later, not with a dramatic suitcase-throwing, door-slamming moment like you see in movies. No, it was quiet. Hollow. I packed my stuff while Mom was at work, and Cassie was live streaming in her room. Just tossed everything I could into my old duffel bag, left the rest behind, clothes, books, memories. I left the house key on the kitchen table, didn't even write a note. I stayed at Kyle's place for a while. He's my oldest friend. He didn't ask too many questions, just handed me a spare key, cleared off a spot on his futon, and gave me space. I told him everything eventually. About the ticket, the fire, the ashes, my mom, and he just stared at me, eyes wide. "Dude, that's straight up evil," he said, like horror movie evil. I nodded, but deep down, I didn't feel anger anymore. I felt nothing, like I'd been hollowed out. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating right. I kept having this dream, me holding the ticket, and every time I tried to cash it in, it crumbled in my hands like ash. Same dream, over and over. It sounds dramatic, I know, but that wasn't just a piece of paper. It was freedom. A future. A life that wasn't filled with obligation, with manipulation, with guilt. Gone. One morning, I was crashing on Kyle's couch, scrolling through job listings, when my phone buzzed. It was a DM on Instagram from someone I hadn't talked to in years, Marissa. We dated in high school, ended things after graduation when she moved to Chicago and I stayed behind. No hard feelings, just drifted apart. I hadn't thought about her in ages. Her message said, "Hey, heard what happened through Cassie's story. Just wanted to say, I'm sorry. Also, I think there's something you should see." At first, I ignored it. I didn't need another person feeling sorry for me, but curiosity got the best of me. I replied, "What do you mean?" She sent a screenshot. Cassie had posted a story the night of the fire, part of the argument. The video she was recording in the kitchen. You couldn't see the ticket, but you could hear everything. Mom yelling, me screaming, begging her to stop, the fire crackling. It wasn't the full clip, just a 15-second snippet, but it was proof. I felt my heart jump. I messaged back, "Do you still have this?" She replied in less than a minute, "I do. And I have the full video." She sent it to me by accident a while back. Thought it was funny. I sat up so fast I knocked over Kyle's coffee mug. "Holy shit," I whispered. Because suddenly, after weeks of hopelessness, I had something I hadn't had since that ticket burned. Leverage. Marissa sent me the full video. The whole thing was just under 2 minutes. In it, you could clearly hear Mom saying, "If you won't share it, no one will have it." Then the lighter, then the flames. I watched it 10 times. I even showed it to Kyle, who muttered, "This is gold." But then I noticed something else, something I hadn't caught before. Right before Mom dropped the ticket onto the burner, she hesitated. Like a full second pause. And in the bottom corner of the screen, you could see her other hand. She was holding something else. Another piece of paper. It looked thicker, cleaner, not part of the ticket. My chest tightened. I zoomed in, paused, zoomed again. It hit me like a freight train. That wasn't the real ticket. The one she burned was a fake. I ran to my backpack, dumped it out. Everything spilled. Receipts, charger cables, gum wrappers. There was the original notebook I'd used to hide the ticket. I flipped through it, heart in my throat. And there it was, taped between 2 pages, folded into a plain white envelope I completely forgot I'd left in there. The real ticket. Intact, crisp, untouched. I sat there in silence for a full minute, just staring at it. I kept expecting it to vanish, like I was dreaming again. But it was real, right there in my hands. I called Marissa. "You're not gonna believe this," I said, half laughing, half crying. She gasped when I told her. "You have it? The real one?" "Yes," I said. She burned a copy. She thought it was the real thing, but I'd switched it. She paused, then said something that changed everything. "Then you need to go after her, for real this time." I called a lawyer the next day, a real one this time, told him everything, showed him the ticket, the serial number, the photos, and most importantly, the video. His face lit up like Christmas. "This is not just a civil case," he said. "This is destruction of property, attempted fraud, emotional abuse. We can build this." We filed immediately. And just like that, my mom and sister, who thought they had burned my future to the ground, were about to face something they hadn't expected: consequences. The court date was set, subpoenas were issued. I wasn't hiding anymore. And for the first time in a long time, I looked in the mirror and didn't see a victim. I saw someone who was taking it all back. The courtroom was smaller than I imagined. No grand speeches, no dramatic gasps. Just a bunch of folding chairs, old wood paneling, and a tired-looking judge who'd probably seen way too many family disputes in his day. But to me, it felt like stepping into the arena. Mom was there, dressed in her nicest church outfit, the one she only pulled out for funerals and weddings. Cassie was in a pantsuit that clearly wasn't hers, probably borrowed. She had her arms crossed the whole time, chin lifted like she was too good to be there. Me? I wore a plain button-up and jeans, not to make a statement, just to feel like myself. My lawyer did the talking. He laid out the timeline, the win, the hidden ticket, the confrontation, the video. When they played the clip in court, the part where Mom said, "If you won't share it, no one will have it," I watched the judge lean back slightly. His face didn't move, but his eyebrows said enough. Then came their turn. Mom's lawyer tried to spin the story, said it was a misunderstanding, that she believed the ticket was fake, that she only destroyed it in a moment of frustration. Cassie cried on cue, talked about emotional trauma, about how I'd abandoned the family and kept secrets. I didn't even look at them. I just stared at the bench in front of me, kept breathing, because I knew something they didn't. Truth doesn't need theatrics. The judge's voice was low and steady when he read the decision. He acknowledged the evidence of attempted destruction, the emotional manipulation, and the clear intent to deprive me of rightful property. Then slowly he confirmed what I needed to hear. The court recognizes the plaintiff as the legal and sole owner of the winning ticket and all associated funds. Boom, there it was. A sentence worth $2.5 million. Cassie burst into tears, not the fake kind. Real sobs, ugly ones, the kind you can't control. Mom? She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stared ahead, mouth a tight line, like she was trying to hold back the weight of the entire universe crashing in on her. The judge also ruled in my favor on damages, emotional and financial. It wasn't a massive amount, but it sent a message. What they did wasn't just wrong, it was criminal. And suddenly, I was free. Free of their grip, their lies, their control. But the story didn't end there. After the verdict, word got out. Small town, you know. Nothing stays private for long. People whispered. Old family friends stopped calling. Church ladies stopped inviting Mom to brunch. Even Cassie's precious Instagram following started turning on her. She posted a long Notes app apology, claiming she'd been misled and emotionally vulnerable. Comments weren't kind. I didn't gloat. I didn't post about it. Didn't make any public statements. I just moved forward. But one day, about a month later, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Mom. I still don't think what you did was fair, but I hope you find peace. No apology. No ownership. Just another layer of guilt. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it. You want to know what I did with the money? Nothing crazy. I paid off every single cent of debt I had. Bought a small apartment in a quiet part of the city. Nothing flashy, but mine. Got a decent car. I finally launched the business I always dreamed of, a video editing studio. And I sleep. That's the part I didn't expect. The sleep. No more waking up with a pit in my stomach. No more walking into rooms expecting disappointment. Just rest, peace, freedom. Kyle's still around. Marissa and I talk more now. Not in a romantic way, just two people who went through weird chapters and came out a little wiser. And my family? I haven't seen them since court, and I'm okay with that. People ask me that a lot. Would you forgive them? I don't know. Maybe someday. Maybe if I hear the words, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Maybe if I believe they actually mean it. But truthfully, I'm not sitting around waiting for that day. Because here's what I've learned. Family isn't who shares your blood. It's who respects your boundaries. It's who sees your success and celebrates it, not tries to burn it down. They thought the ticket was the prize, but the real prize was the lesson. And that's something no one can ever take from me.